Hi, these comments are for H, and how are you doing today? I am Michael from OTC, Online TOEFL Course.com. You're one of my TOEFL speaking boot camp course students. You're getting ready to take the test coming up here in a few days, right? So I have the rubrics right here, and in the email, you said, "Good day, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much for your review on my task 4 response last time." And you want to change this word not to although. You want to say however because you're using this as a transition word, not a subordinated conjunction. So, however, I still re record a lot of times in my task 2 through 4. This time in my task 1, I tried doing one take. Attached herewith is my task. Okay, so this time you didn't practice it several times, and practicing is okay. I think that's a great way to get ready for the exam. I think I told you the example. I had a Japanese student many years ago. She would spend 1 hour just preparing one practice test for me. And then she'd send it to me. I would grade it. And then the next day she'd do exactly the same thing on her next task. And she took the TOEFL exam 2.5 months later and got 28 out of 30 on the speaking section. So as she was practicing, and what you're doing is, Hannah, is you're improving your grammar, your vocabulary, your pronunciation, your overall delivery skills. You're just getting better in all those different areas by practicing, and eventually it will become natural to you on your first take. How about that? Okay, so let's see what this sounds like. So I think is, should children be given cell phones? Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree with the statement that the students should not be allowed to bring cell phones into the classroom because of the reasons that cell phones can be used as an emergency device and also it can aid learning. First of all, the cell phones can now be used to call the persons you need for help. For example, I remember when I was still in college where I needed tampons because I had this menstruation on that day. I don't have extra tampons on that day, and this made me realize that it's a good thing that I have a phone because I can text my friends right away to send me some. Second of all, cell phones can be used to aid in your learning because you can easily Google things.
Speaking after the beep.
Okay, so let's take a look at the rubrics here. Okay, I think it's probably between 3.0 and 3.5. So I'm going to say between 24 and 26 points out of 30, right? Okay, so I think there may be just some minor delivery issues. Let's listen to it one more time. Okay, here we go.
I disagree with the statement that the students should not be allowed to bring cell phones into the classroom because of the reasons that cell
I'll just say because cell phones, blah blah blah. You don't have to say because of the reasons that.
phones can be used as an emergency device and also it can aid learning.
Okay, so cell
First of all,
phones,
the cell
basically cell phones can be used for emergencies, emergency situations, and they can be used to facilitate or aid student learning, right? Those are your
phones
2
can now
points.
be used to call the persons you need for help. For example, I remember when I was still in college where I needed tampons because I had this menstruation on that day. I don't have extra tampons on that day, and
Let me go back to what you just said.
can now be used to call the persons you need for help. For example, I remember when I was still in college
So we're dealing with past tense verbs.
where I needed tampons because I had this menstruation on that day. I don't have extra tampons on that day,
I didn't have on that day, right? So didn't, not don't.
and
So this is where you ran into some language use and some pacing issues. Was right around 30 to 35 seconds.
this made me realize that it's a good thing that I have a phone because I can text my friends right away.
This made me realize that because I had a phone, I could text. So you're running into some language use problems right there also, talking about a past action, which means you need to use past tense verbs.
way to send me some. Second of all, cell phones can be used to aid in your learning because you can easily Google things.
They can be used to aid learning in the classroom, so it looks like here it's probably better that you just focus on the one example because you ran out of time on the second one. You did not have enough time to really illustrate that second point, so that's a topic development issue. Okay, so I think my score is pretty accurate. I'm going to put you at 23 to 24 points out of 30. So you had some problems with verb tenses when you're talking about past actions, and then you also had some minor delivery issues, particularly with pacing. So be careful. So I think you know how to use verb tenses. I'm not going to review any grammar lessons. You understand what the grammar is, but you just didn't control it perfectly during the speaking task. So I'm going to say 23 to 24 points, I think, out of 30 is probably a pretty realistic score based on this. So this is what happens on the first take. So even on the first take, you're still over 23 or 24 points, right? So keep practicing. So maybe once or twice a week, send me something on the first take, but then on the others, keep practicing several times until you get the perfect score so you can feel what it's like to get 30 out of 30 points. All right, thanks.